Okay, hello everyone. I'm back. Though I doubt this is going to be a common thing with what's going on in my life. But I'm busy. Nothing like, oh my god, what's going on? No, I'm just busy. But I decided to make this because something in the back of my head told me today to just make it. After I came out of the movie, I didn't really think too much more of it. But then today, my mind was like, Nader, make a video review. So, yeah, so this is gonna be it. So how am I gonna go about doing this? Well, I'm going to be talking about, what I liked, what I didn't like, and also I wanna talk about the reaction that this movie has generated from people, because I think that's very telling. I mean, it's not surprising. I mean, we have reactions like this all the time, but it's just something this time around just, I don't know, just clinked in my head, and so I want to address it. But we're going to start off with some background. I am a Godzilla fan. I like Godzilla. Godzilla vs. Biollante is one of my favorite movies. So yeah, I've enjoyed Godzilla growing up. So I didn't despise the 98 movie like other people did. I like the design of him at least. I mean, he wasn't Godzilla, but I like the design of him. Really. I mean, if we're going to go CGI in a monster that's not in a suit, that was actually a really good way to go. Just the rest of the movie, yeah, but I didn't despise the movie as much. And there were some really good scenes in that movie regardless. But so when I heard about this movie, at first I was excited. I was like, oh, we're going to get, a new version of Godzilla. It's going to be cool. Especially after the fact that I didn't really care too much for the Millennium series of Godzilla. My favorite is the Heisei series. So the Millennium didn't really stick too much with me. But I was excited at first, but then I heard who was directing it. Gareth Edwards. And then, yeah, that's when things for me started getting a bit more iffy. Because I had seen his other film, Monsters. Because I can't remember exactly why. I'm thinking because, when I heard his name attached to it, all of a sudden, I decided, I want to check it out. So I think that's what happened. So I saw Monsters, and boy, did I hate it. I was so bored. That is a boring movie. And here's the thing. I can handle a movie that bores me, but this movie also pissed me off, because those characters were some of the most unlikable, annoying characters I've ever had to sit through in a movie. And there's a bunch of stuff that just didn't make sense and all, but aside from that, I was not particularly looking forward to seeing Gareth Edwards bring the vision to life. But then the trailers started to come out, and you know how trailers work, and these trailers were really good. They really set it up well. I mean, then Bryan Cranston, all that, I was like, alright, we got something going on here. And yeah, so then, the reviews started to come in. And yeah, it was about what I expected from a Gareth Edwards movie, of all things. But still, those are just reviews, early reviews, or, their own people's opinions. I can make them my own still. And I will say, though, that beforehand, that I did watch Movie Bob's review of the movie. And if this seems like, yeah, it copies off of him, it's because a lot of what he said, basically everything he said, matched up with what I thought sitting through. So I'm gonna just go down and, again, like I said, what I liked, didn't like, and also the reaction. I have this notepad here because, I'm not great with these things, and at least gives me a chance to, structure my thoughts a bit. So, yeah, let's get started first with what I did like. I mean, right off the bat, Bryan Cranston. I mean, there's no question. The script, was another thing, but he chewed up that scenery. He was the best thing about that movie. He really was. The first 20 to 30 minutes of that movie, like the first act, especially with him in it, that's the best part. Because you actually have a character that's actually interesting. At least, he has a performance that makes you go, okay, I'm kind of getting invested in this movie. And, yeah, and it was just, just to see him go out like that in the first, third of the movie, I was just, going, oh. I mean, I heard that, he's no longer a part of it, and I was suspecting, are they going to kill him off? And lo and behold, in the opening credits, and Bryan Cranston, then I realized, oh, they're probably going to kill him off. And they did. But, credit where credit is due. He's the best character and most interesting. Ken Watanabe, he wasn't bad, but he wasn't given much to work with. And of course the script didn't give him much to work with. But I'll talk a bit more about him a little later on. Another guy that, I feel like, kind of passed over was David Strathairn. He was in The Bourne Ultimatum, one of my favorite movies. He's the Admiral. And, again, like I said, the script doesn't give him much to work with, but, he delivers, what I expect from David. I was going, okay, I like this. I like him, at least in it. At least I got some actors I like that's involved. And, that was actually, those were the three characters that even bothered to turn something in. Bothered. Of course, then we move on to Godzilla. I mean, the shots when he's in it, and those build-ups before they cut away, but those build-ups, and of course when he's in it and he's doing the fighting and then all that stuff, those are great. That's the kind of stuff that again get me excited. That's the point I was going. Yes, there you go. There you go. That's the movie I've been waiting for. And we'll talk about a bit more of how they handle him a bit later. And finally, and that's the thing, the M.U.T.A.s. Yeah, those other monsters Godzilla fights. Especially toward the end when they have that interaction with each other, and they seem to be mates. Well, they are mates. And of course, you see her reaction when the eggs blow up, and it's such a very, very real reaction, very emotive reaction. I was surprised. Actually, I was going, aww, because I was like, wow. I mean, she's a mom. She just lost her kids. I mean, and they just showed it. It's like, wow, they actually pulled it off. One other thing about Godzilla, I like that face he makes as the M.U.T.A. is flying at him. It's like, I've had enough of this. That was just. I wish there was more stuff like that of him just doing those kinds of things. So, yeah, that's really about it. I mean, maybe there's some little things here and there. The opening credits, they showed Godzilla, all that stuff happening with the nuclear blast. Those were cool. Like I said, anything with him in it is good. But again, now that we're getting to what I didn't like, it's that the problem is that everything else, really. I think, it's been addressed already. I mean, Aaron Taylor Johnson just was really boring in this movie. And his wife was just, if not even more boring. I did not care for either of these two because there was no sufficient character development with either of them to really just get me invested with them. The thing also, there was no performance to really get me invested with them. Like I said, Cranston, at the very least, had a performance to work with a weak script. These guys don't even turn in a performance for a weak script. So, and the whole, Brody thing, it's like, really? You're really going to parallel Jaws? Of course, they've been talking about that the whole time. And they've been talking about as they're building up that, this is like Jaws. We're going to hold off on the monster for a while and all of that stuff. And it's just going, I'm just going, wow, you really, 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 really missed the point of Jaws. My favorite horror movie, by the way. But, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, Movie Bob talk about this, but again, like I said, it's going to be paralleling a lot. The thing about Jaws was that, again, what made the movie work, especially before the shark, was that the characters were interesting. What was going on between them? The politics, the interactions, the back and forth, the different that's the stuff that made Jaws work. It's like again, if the characters weren't there, you would be bored out of your mind waiting for the shark. But at the same time, you wouldn't really care about these characters so much, and them trying to fight off the shark. You've been like, oh, let the shark eat them. I can't stand them. You're like, no, I hope these characters fight back. And that's the thing. There's nothing in this here. This is not the 21st century Jaws at all. At all. And yeah, I mean, the whole problem is that the script is really just a patchwork. It doesn't really flow organically. There's no, for me, again, there's no sense of flow or sense of organic with this. It feels like, again, it's just been cobbled together, and that's surprising. It's like you think just having one script writer would have had a consistent vision, but the thing for me was that the movie felt like it had different pulls around everywhere, from Gareth, from maybe the other producers around with the script to be pulled, and it's just, I mean, let's be honest, Ken Watanabe had much more potential, but he was squandered. That's the problem, is that because he squandered, it leads me to the other big problem, which is really, the problem is that Godzilla really does not make any sense. In fact, he doesn't make any sense. Why is he doing the stuff he's doing? He's not hunting the M.U.T.A.s. He's not eating them. Like Ken Watanabe again says, he's some balance to balance of nature and all. It's like, how does he know? How does he know? How does he know what Godzilla thinks? Huh? At the very least, in Godzilla vs. Biollante, when we had the sidekick girl, she was psychic. She could at least read his mind, literally. It's a little bit silly, but at least it gave us some motivation to why Godzilla does what he does. That's the problem. There's no motivation to him. And on top of that, he's a relegated side character. That's the thing. The movie's focus is not him. He is a side character. He just comes in to clean up the mess. That's really it. And that's the point. People like to say, oh, well, the other movies, Godzilla didn't show up for a while, or the other movies, Godzilla wasn't there as long, or the other movies, the human characters were involved. Alright, few things. The other movies, especially the Heisei, let's forget, the 70s. We'll just take, the original and the Heisei. Godzilla was the focus. Directly or indirectly, he was still the focus. That's the thing. The movies kept him as the focus up until the end. And they go, oh, well, there's not so much screen time as them. Well, that's the point. Well, the screen time didn't bother me. It was the way it was handled. I mean, constantly cutting up before they're as the build-up, and then, that one scene where, they finally show him, he roars, and you think, oh, you're right, we have a fight, and then we get a report on it. And you think, oh, okay, I guess they're going to be cutting away, and then they're building up tension. But that's the thing. They continue to cut away back to these uninteresting characters up until the final fight. There's no sustainability. They don't sustain it. It's just cuts. It's cuts. At least, especially again, Godzilla vs. Biollante, when we had an action scene with Godzilla, it was sustained. The remarks, the camera angles, all that stuff, were focusing around that action, around him. And again, it's like they say, oh, well, the other human characters in the other movies were not interesting. Actually, they were. I mean, even the American version of the original Godzilla, Raymond Burr was an interesting character because he's Raymond Burr. Regardless of, how hackneyed, what they did to the movie was, Raymond Burr at least created an American character I was invested in. And even in the other, like the Heisei series, for instance, you actually watch the movies and there's subtitles, not the English dubbing, because the English dubbing messes up everything. I mean, there are actual subplots and motivations you cannot get unless you watch the actual the subtitles, not the dubbing. So yeah, those were interesting. I mean, again, Godzilla vs. Biollante, he shows up he's at the very beginning, and then he's gone for a good 20, 25, maybe 30 minutes. It's been a little while since I've watched the movie. But that's the thing. All around that time, you get character build-ups, you get stuff going on, you got, character interactions. Even then, the focus is still, subtly or even indirectly on Godzilla. That's the thing. So that's the other problem with the movie, that he's not even the focus in his own movie. He's just, again, a side character. And that's also the thing, is that people go, oh, well, you came to see monsters fight. Then what was the point of the human characters anyway? And here's more so than anything else, and I need to stress this, is the movie cost $160 million, and that is without the marketing budget, which was millions more. Are you really telling me that you're going to spend $160 million alone and not at least, in the 21st century, at least have decent characterization? People complain, about things, falling apart here. Why isn't this being paid? Why are these people going hungry? All this stuff. Well, you're spending $160 million on a movie, and you're still going to complain. And it's just, yeah, I mean, that's, I'm looking through here, and yeah, I mean, also, again, like I mentioned earlier, it's like Brian gets killed off at the beginning, like that. I mean, the whole internet, thanks of course to the trailers, was building up to, Bryan Cranston, basically from Breaking Bad, which I've not seen by the by, versus Godzilla. And it was a parody and all of that. Would have been cool. Or, maybe have Bryan Cranston and Ken Watanabe working together. That would have been cool. That potential was there. Why they decided to put in Aaron, I have no idea. Here's the thing, I didn't mind the whole, white family in America and all that stuff. At least make it interesting. Make them interesting. I don't really care much for the whole, the diversity thing per se. I mean, I do, but it's just, from a movie perspective, I just want interesting. I just want interesting. Make it interesting, fine. But it wasn't interesting. The script wasn't interesting. Most of the characters were interesting. Yeah, it just was not an interesting movie. But, it is what it is. So, so yeah, that's what I didn't like, as far as I can remember. I'm sure something is going to come up and be like, why did I put that in there? But, oh well. And finally, I want to, comment on the reaction to, the criticism of Godzilla. I mean, seriously, guys, grow up. I mean, I know you all love your nostalgia. You all want to have fun. All that stuff. But, guys, people's opinions are people's opinions. And this is subjective entertainment. Why everyone has this almost, hackneyed toddler reaction is beyond me. And it's just, how does someone's opinion, does Rotten Tomatoes rating, does IMDb's rating, how does that matter to you? Why do you get upset if, it's not getting the rating or the opinion you think it deserves? Why do you, set it up so that you make it personal? It's beyond me. It's beyond me why people, have this reaction to movies. I know people want, I want people, like I said, to have fun, have the nostalgia. Look, I was like that a few years ago. I had a sense of nostalgia. I got angry. I got upset. All that stuff. But after a while, I was like, wait, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. If I think a movie's good, whatever. If someone doesn't think a movie's good, fine. People say, oh, well, he's a reviewer, and, people are going to listen to him, and, yeah, I mean, I can stand by while he says this stuff about this movie that I vehemently disagree with. Well, guess what? There are going to be saying a lot of stuff that you're going to disagree with. But there are also going to be a lot of people who agree with them. Because guess what? It's a subjective movie. It's subjective entertainment. Now, it's one of these things where, I get the brunt of it sometimes. I do. To be honest. And it really just, it gets very tiresome. Especially, if you have thin skin. Luckily for me, for the most part, my skin is basically solid, though I'll be honest, it does crack every now and then. But it's one of these things where it's just like, Really? Really? I mean, I know we want, the kid in us to be alive, especially in this, world that's so harsh. But, I mean, after a while, it's like, you really want to be like that the rest of your life? Or you really want to go around just, being known as that guy? How everyone is just going, oh God, I don't want to get involved. I don't want to say anything. I don't even want to post an opinion anymore on anything because I don't want to be, hammered. This not just goes for me. It just goes for, critics in general. How, they have to deal with the fact, they're critics. What are they supposed to do? It's their job. A lot of them, that's how they make their living. But that's what they do. That's what they have to deal with. And this movie is no different. I mean, the sheer defensiveness of some of this criticism is really just sad. And that's the thing. This is old news. This has been known for a really long while. Really. But I just felt like something just inside me just snapped and just had to, comment on this. So, all I want to say with regards to that is that people, calm down. It's not the end of the world, and you will live, you will move on, and the less time you spend wasted on getting angry, and the more time you spend being productive, and just moving on and not letting their opinions get to you, the better you'll feel. Because that's the thing, you're not letting them get to you. When you let them get to you, they've won. Whether or not they wanted to have a battle, but at least inside your mind, they've won. So, yeah, that's about it for Godzilla. I don't think I'm gonna give a number for it. Just whatever. That's my opinion, and take it as you will. And hopefully this video wasn't too awkward. And I hope you lasted this long. If you did, congratulations. And maybe I'll do something in the future. Maybe I won't. This has already turned out to be better than I thought it was gonna be, and maybe we'll see more to come. But until then, have a good rest of the day, and I may see you soon. Alright, bye.